All right, now we're going to tackle the base map portion of this. There are many ways to create base maps. Typically, when you're working in a firm, the base map is going to be provided to you electronically in the form of a DWG file. Or if you're working as an architect, maybe a Revit file. Things are beginning to change within the field because, again, things are moving towards building information modeling in 3D. However, I'm going to express to you a way to generate a base map using SketchUp, tracing a SketchUp image and bringing back into AutoCAD because it allows you to generate contours in this way. You can also, if your municipality is, if you're lucky enough to be living or be working in a municipality or doing work for a municipality that has a decent GIS infrastructure, sometimes you can download DWG files and also shape files to generate AutoCAD base maps for yourself automatically. Again, this is more of a manual process, but it's going to show you a connection between AutoCAD moving into SketchUp and kind of back and forth, so you can begin to see how you can start a connection and start a project if you had nothing to begin with. Perhaps for a senior project or for your projects through your studios. Okay, so that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find, use my project folder template too. That should be done. I'm going to go into SketchUp and start this way because we're going to find the site through SketchUp. I would prefer if you found your own site and did this. It doesn't have to be a really big place. It can be as big as you want it to be, but I don't want anybody just modeling like a trash can and like turning it in like blah. So make sure that it's at least as big as my parking lot area that I'm going to demonstrate. And you don't have to design it. All it needs to be is basically a recreation of the existing conditions. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to modify this a little bit. And if you have a template created already, that's great. I'm just going to show you how to do it one more time if you don't. So my sky looks pretty good. I'm toggling through these items. Okay. Let me get to my shadows too. That looks good. Alright, so everything looks good with my settings there. I have kind of a gray background that's going to give me a nice darker color, so I have contrast. I know that my front face is going to be white and the back face is going to be in this kind of darker blue color. I don't need a person for scale for this. Not yet. We can drop people in later on, so I'm going to go ahead and delete her for now. The next thing I want to do that's important is I want to go to model info and go into my units, and I want to change that to decimal, and I want to do decimal feet, and let's just kind of do 0.1. You can still put in 3 inches and it'll recognize that, but I'm just trying to make sure that we have a smooth connection between our AutoCAD and our SketchUp. So I'm going to convert this to express what we have in AutoCAD. So I'm putting it in decimal. Okay. Now from that, if you wanted to use that in the future, you can just save this as a template, save as template and give it a name, and then you wouldn't have to do that in the future. So now what I want to do is use the add location tool. So I'm going to go add location. I'm going to use our campus. It's going to be anywhere you like it to be. If you want a more accurate model, it should be somewhere you can kind of walk to and maybe take a picture of, and it'll make it easier to make sure it's accurate. So I'm going to come over here to the intersection of Lindsay and Beach Street, and it's one of our buildings, I believe. And I'm going to do this parking lot area. So I'm going to kind of zoom out a little bit. I want to make sure that I have kind of the clearest picture that I can, at least the site. And it looks like I can't zoom in anymore, so it's the best it's going to give me for accuracy. There are some other techniques to improve this, but this will suffice for this. I'm going to say select region, and I'm going to grab more than I need because I want to have some, I'm going to have an image and make sure that when I bring this thing into my base map that, I have some context. I'm not going to model all that. I might drop the road in, but at least I'll have some lines there. So from that, then what I'll do, I don't need quite that much. I'll say grab. It'll come in. And what it's going to give me is, let me go to my layers now. It's going to give me a snapshot and a local terrain. This should be familiar to you from the tutorials. My snapshot is flat, and my terrain is going to give me some topography. And this is where we can generate a topography from. Now this is where you would use a plugin. Let me unlock this, called From Contours. Okay, or contours, and it enables you to select an object or a group or a component. Select the interval. I'm going to say 1 foot and say OK, and it will actually create that contour profile, the topography lines, the contour lines for you. So in this way we can generate contours. Now the reality is it 100% accurate? There goes the road. Is that accurate? Maybe there's a culvert there and the road comes over it. Maybe that's the answer. But in this instance, things would have to be massaged, right? Something's going on, and it's not expressing infrastructure, and so that's a problem right now. But it gives you a place to start from, and from our specific site, we don't. It looks like it's working for me. It looks like it's pretty accurate. It's a relatively flat site, but there are some contour lines, so we do have some expression, some flow. And in real life, most of life is like this. Nothing's ever really perfectly flat. So contours are a big part of what we do and what we need to develop a deep understanding of in order to practice. All right, so I have my contours generated. Now I'm gonna let me turn off the terrain so I can get into these guys. I'm gonna select everything and actually put that on its own contour layer because it was on 0. I also just want to actually call these contours too. I like putting a 0 prefix before my contours, and then also the interval 1 foot, so I can toggle them on and off now. So let me go back to my snapshot, toggle off my contours. I don't need them right now, but it's good to have. And we've taken care of one part of generating a base map because we're going to bring this over into AutoCAD ultimately. So I'm going to put this thing in parallel projection. I have shortcuts for this. And the idea is to trace this thing. That's the name of the game. So I'm going to go into my line tool, and I might skip through some of this if it's taking me a while to do. I'm hoping maybe just a half an hour, but we'll see. What I'm going to do is put myself on, well, the first thing I want to do is kind of knock out some of the plant material that I see. I'm going to just create some blocks for this. And I'm going to reference, if I need to, and you can do this as well, images from just Google Maps. So you can go to Google Maps, and you can type in NC State University. Take me there. Here, where am I? There. And right here, so I can just drop a person kind of right here. And I'm on Street View now, and I can kind of see what's going on. So it looks like I have some carissas and maybe some, what is that, an oak maybe? And grass, and there's kind of this buffer strip between the curb and the sidewalk and the edge of pavement, about 1 foot 6 inches. And I'm guessing this is probably going to be about 2, looks like Quincy, 2 feet or 3 feet or something like that. I'm not sure, but we'll probably estimate it at 3 feet. In this instance, and this is where you can get really accurate with your model, and I won't sweat you off for this too much because I want you to go through the practice of modeling it, but you can actually go out and physically measure these things and make sure these models are really, really accurate. And then we're looking at the agricultural research station too. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to put myself on a layer. I'm going to create different layers for the plant materials just ahead of time. So I'm going to say LA, and I'm going to say this is going to be a shrub maybe, and this is going to be a carissa. It's only a few plants, but you always want to have clean designations and descriptions for your layer sets. I also have a one called, this is going to be tree. I'm going to have an oak, and then maybe another one, LA, tree. Maybe this is a holly on this side that I see in the bottom right hand corner. And maybe we'll do kind of LA tree existing. Okay, if we get these in the background, I'm not sure. We'll focus on this stuff, but if it's quick, then we'll add those two. So I'm gonna go to my holly and put myself on that layer. I'm gonna hit the or not the holly, rather the carissa, the shrub. And then hit the circle tool. I'm gonna come out. I know that's gonna be This one I put on X-ray as well. I'm gonna put this thing on X-ray so I can actually see things. So I'm gonna hit the circle tool, and the sides, I'm gonna make that 50, just so these things are really smooth. And I'm gonna kind of click into what I see this to be and drag out, and the radius, I guess that looks about right. Maybe we'll say 2 feet. And that doesn't really look right for that, does it? So let's actually just eyeball it and pull it out. All right. So 6 foot Carissa, that seems pretty big. Let's just fudge it and say it's just catching shadows. So I'm gonna do mine at 2 feet, a 2 foot radius. And I'm gonna create a component with this. I'm gonna call this Carissa Holly, and there you go. There you go, and create. Okay, so now that I have that, what I want to do is just kind of copy that thing along. That edge. Let's see. And some of these might need to be readjusted. I just kind of want to get them placed generally and kind of get it going. Again, the clearer the image, the better in this instance. This is kind of blurry, so. And to try to fix that, so let's see if we can't fix that. Maybe we can zoom in a little bit closer. I'm gonna go back to the Place Me tool, and this is what's nice about this too. That is sad that resolution is so bad. And some areas are just going to be better than others. Yeah, I guess that is the best that we can do with that. So some areas are going to be clearer than others. So try to pick an area that's clear that you can kind of see. But again, if you had to do this and this is the site, then hey, you do the best you can. All right, so that's cool right there. I'm going to do the oak tree. And I'm going to say that guy is kind of like back in X-ray. And maybe they're kind of small now, but they'll get big eventually. So we'll pull it out to that. And what I'm going to do too is I'll just do an offset and just give it kind of a center point. All right. And I'll just make it black just so we can kind of see it. Drop that in. Okay. And grab all that. And then I'll make that a component. And then I'll call that the oak tree. Set component axis on that dead center point again. Create. Okay. Then I'll just copy this thing over. And you kind of have this like there. Maybe that's like that. Actually, that'll be kind of like that. And again, I can make some adjustments if I need to after the fact. I'm going to go to the existing, not existing, but the holly. And put myself here. Looks like it's kind of good to me. And you can actually find symbols for these things. I'm just doing very simple geometries because you can update them. They're going to be blocks, and you can always update them later on. I'm going to be simple for this, for the purposes of building it. Make a component, and this is going to be that holly. And set component axis. Boom, boom, and then create. All right, there it is. Maybe that shifts over a little bit so it's off that sidewalk. Okay. So I got some trees now. Now, let me show you another way. Now, this is another plugin, and you don't need to do as much context. I'm going to show you that you can do this if you wanted to. I'm going to put myself on that layer, and I'm going to create another tree. I'm just going to kind of, these like are big. So let me do an offset. Offset that, maybe that's like that, that's like that, that's like that, that's like that. Okay, so I have this, and I'm going to make that a component, and that, and I'm going to call that existing tree. Okay. There is a plugin that allows you to, which is Ray Tracer, and it allows me to spray. You can adjust the radius of this. You can make it, say I wanted to make it 30, I can make it 30, 60 seems decent to me. But what it does, it allows you to select a component and then kind of, you know, like spray it around. Sometimes you get some funky overlaps, but it's kind of a quick way to get areas in. You can make, you know, the radius smaller and, you know, kind of come in and hit the areas of trees. And sometimes it's worth more trouble than the benefit it gives you. But you can kind of come back and maybe delete a few of these things that are overlapping that wouldn't make sense. But you're going to create kind of a quick, you know, background for yourself, and just to help kind of ground the design or in the area. And it didn't take too much time. Maybe I pull that one back some, so it's not in the road. And maybe that one doesn't exist because it doesn't exist. Or maybe it does exist and just gotta move it. I want to be inclusive. Alright. That comes down here. There. Maybe this is kind of like that. But you get the idea. Maybe that one is not there. This one is here. Sorry. You're kind of like that. Maybe you're going too, dude. All right. So that looks decent to me. So then I can just, next thing I'm gonna do is save this, right? This is where using your folder comes into play. So I'm gonna go to my desktop. Now I have this project folder template that we created. I just want to make a copy of it. Let me make a copy of that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna call this 01 for myself, because this is your first project you're really doing like this. And let me go back and actually, and I'm gonna call this just LDAR 171 final project. It doesn't need to be a copy now. Boom. And I'm gonna select that. I'm gonna go in here and then I'm gonna go into the SketchUp, and I'm just gonna call this my model. Boom. So it's nice and organized from the very beginning. All right, so it's getting there, and now what's nice about it, I can put myself back on 0 and turn these things off. No problem. That too, if I wanted to. All right, so what I want to do now is, now that I have that, that's nice, is I want to worry about my flat work. I want to worry about the edges, the form composition, if you will. And then I'm going to do my striping just to express that and put that on a separate layer too, so that we can drop. That'll make a whole lot more sense when we get into 3D, but we still want to have it. But I'm going to show you how to do it here. All right, so what we need to do is have the snapshot on. I'm going to go to layer 0 now, actually, for this, and I'm going to start tracing. So I hit A for my arc. And this is what it is, folks. You just kind of got to trace it. One day, I promise you'll be able to click on something like Google Maps, Google Earth, and all this will be generated for you in 3D. It's going to be so awesome. But not today. Not today. All right, so this is kind of coming up. Maybe bring up as best you can. Maybe that's kind of coming around like that. And maybe it's kind of doing like that. Ooh. Maybe this is going more don't want those overlaps, so be careful about that. Make sure everything's nice and clean and closed. I'm just going to come straight down with this, like this. That's a good line for me. Oops. Come back here. And I'm doing that front of the edge of pavement, so I'm going to grab that one right here and assume it's the same line, basically. And it's going to be in a nice parallel shift, and I'm hoping that it's just covered by canopy. I'm going to assume it is. And the same thing here. I'm actually going to just keep this line going. Oh, of course, that ain't work. That ain't work. So I'm going to grab up here and just keep it parallel. And it's giving me those references to let me know that's what's happening. So that's nice. So I'm going to come out here and just keep this one kind of going. Then maybe I'm going to try to grab this line. I'm using an extension called Weld, W. No. And it just combines the line together. It's Weld, W-E-L-D. You can find that through the extension warehouse. If you probably don't have it, so it's just W-E-L-D, Weld, and it'll take you there. Boom. Click it, read it, install it, work it. Okay. I'm going to try to use the offset tool. Sometimes it doesn't work for this geometry. It's working for this one, so that's great. Boom. Maybe that's a little bit more over so I can get it. Yeah, maybe not. Boom. Then I'll take this line and try to connect the dots. Maybe that's right there. Try to connect the dots. Okay. And like little crosses and things like that. You want to make sure they're really clean because that'll hurt you later on when you're trying to make your models. Okay. So it looks pretty clean to me. And some of this we can clean up too in AutoCAD. So, but work as cleanly as you can. All right. So what I'm going to do is also now is just kind of draw a box around this, my general shape, and just to kind of frame out the area that I'm going to focus on. Gives me a nice kind of reference. I think that's good. And I'll trim around this. It's going to give me extra topography, which is nice, but you know, I'm just that's pretty good for me. It gives me a nice cut line too, a nice even straight line to cut everything to. What else am I going to add? So now I got to worry about kind of the edge of pavement, curb, and the buffer strip, the sidewalk, and all these other elements. So I should have a face in here. That's nice. You should have faces. Faces are important. And I'm using my offset tool, and I'm going to come and I'm going to do a foot because I know that typical edge of pavements are a foot. I'm going to do another one, and then from the edge of pavement I'm going to do 6 inches. Oops, not 6 feet. 0.5 because we're working in decimal units. And then I want to do, I think 3 feet was appropriate for this, so I hit 3. And there it is. So now we're in 3 feet. And then it looks like that sidewalk is what, 5 feet? Cool. That worked out. So that was very quick, and I just need to clean this up some. So this is going to go straight, as is that. Trim, 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 trim. That's gone. Obviously that's gone as well. That's cool. Just need to extend that. Let me use my arc tool for that. Looked like it was a little extension, so I'm just kind of cleaning that up. It looks like it's still a little anomaly. Okay. That'll just come straight down there as well. And just kind of eyeball it for there. Yeah, maybe the line tool will work better for me. Okay, there you go. Trim that, that looks good. Looks like it's off a little bit there, so we'll have to do a break, but I'll finish this one. This goes through. That breaks, that breaks, that breaks, that breaks, that breaks. Okay. Now it looks like it begins to shift, kind of like right there. So it looks like it's kind of going something like that. And I'll hit it so it's perpendicular. Now let's trim this and trim that. Now what I'll do is hopefully offset that back here. And that's pretty close. I'll let that ride. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Let's say some of that's just the anomaly in the image. Because it's 5 feet, it would probably be accurate. So could be a little tighter if you want, but this works for me. Let me delete that little piece here. Boom, boom. Weld. I use Weld a lot, so it's something that you should definitely download. I think 5 feet. And what this will do then, this is just kind of curve in. We'll kind of come here. And it looks like this is kind of like curling out almost. Like it's doing something like that to me. Which means that this would get deleted there. Oh, there's also the planar strip is there. Okay, we're good. Just did it quick, so quick I forgot. All right, now we need to put in those are like manholes. So click that. Let's copy detail. With that, we'll worry about that in a little bit. Let me keep on going though. I'm still named. This is going to curve out. It's kind of a funky curve. Okay, and it looks like that's not really there. Curve is not clean. Don't like it. So I'm just clean this up a little bit as I go. Hopefully somebody kind of designed it like that. Even that art really comes in too much. And again, some of this you can do a lot of this cleanup in AutoCAD, but again, I'm just trying to get it as clean as possible. So that's close enough for me. I'm saving constantly, and I'm gonna get these driveways in. Looks like it's going like that. Again, I'm in ortho projection, so it's nice and flat. And I'm just tracing on top of that locked snapshot layer. And it looks like it ends kind of like right there. You're gonna kind of eyeball these things sometimes. And I'm assuming there's kind of a flare out there too. Even though that is definitely not the same angle. Maybe this one is actually. What if this is coming out like that? What if? And that looks more realistic to me. Or maybe it's sweeping out. So, I mean, you come into these situations, trace what's obvious to you, and sometimes things would would just kind of reveal themselves and become obvious. So. Let me kind of trace some of this other stuff. Let's see what happens. Okay, so you're not clear. And you're trying to minimize the number of clicks that you have. So this is kind of like this, and this is going to be, I'm going to try to get this as correct as possible because this angle matters. Perpendicular is right there, but that's not that. So let me try to just draw this thing and catch that. Alright, so that's off. So let me force this line. Let me say this is this way, and we'll change this one. That'll make it perpendicular. There we go. Okay. Then I'm going to use that reference and then grab that and pull this down here. And I'm assuming this parking lot's aligned with that, so I can kind of begin to frame some of this stuff too with that same line. I think that's kind of right there. And this line is kind of like right. Where is that line? Ooh, that's bad. Let's see, it's right there. Again, do your best on this. Pick an area that has good resolution. Just showing you what you can do if you had to do it. I'm saying this comes out. It's there. It's probably going to be the 5-foot offset as well. Oops. And that should be what, 5. So that's 5. Let's just kind of do some guesswork here. Just going to kind of copy that up a little bit. And I say that's probably what it is, and just get rid of those lines. Keep the sidewalk size consistent. And maybe there's some just this distortion. There's a lot of distortion though. But I'm gonna let that go. Okay. And pieces. Kind of get this thing going. This is where you can go out and field verify. Because you will get some distortion from them, the aerials that you get. So again, you want to be accurate, and if you're putting your license on the line, you need to get that survey. Okay. Let's go like that. Kind of keep going. Save, drink. All right. Bam. And of course, I'll just bring that. Looks like it's just like right there, I guess. And use my references. Make sure my lines are clean. Cut. Paste. Alright. Keep kind of going. Let me just grab this real quick. Looks like that's just going to wrap around for me. That's going to cut that curve. Where does that happen here? We're going to say kind of eyeballing that. Say we're going to cut that curve there. And I want to just clean that up a little bit. Alright. And the way that's going to work is it's going to cut that curb. Edge of pavement. You can have a sidewalk going on top of it and has a different texture, but I'm going to call it all, I'll leave that there for that, that's fine. Yeah. That's kind of a line there, I'll leave it. That's fine. Boom, so that's good, save. I'll come over here. Boom, getting lost in the shadow a little bit. Go straight out. This is just straight janky. And then I'm just probably got a little. There you go. Boom. So it looks good. Control S. And then I'll delete that. Alright, so what's happening here? It's going to catch in the shadow. That's being pitched. It's weird sometimes when it does that. It won't allow you to reference. Sometimes it will do that, and I'll just kind of pull a line up and just kind of reposition it. Be careful that you don't do that, what I just did. Make sure that you're copying the line and just kind of dropping it. Just meld into itself, because if you don't, it'll drag your whole geometry. I'm gonna say maybe that's just kind of going. Let's just say it's going like that. Again, you need to make sure you verify yours and make sure it's right. So maybe it's kind of going like that, and boom. Then maybe I'll just come off right there. Like it's kind of doing something like that. Should be a radius on all these, really. So, okay, what is? Must be some sort of distortion, and that's gonna go through. So, I should make that right there. And it's cutting it off, so it looks funky. I'll just put a little one on and be happy. Let's say it's doing something. Okay. And I'll kill that. Alright, I'll leave that in. It's different than that, but then this line is normal. And put this all the way through. Then say this line is normal. Okay, and save. Alright, so we're kind of getting there. What else do I need? I'm not going to worry about, well, I can just go ahead and put the building. I was saying worry about it too much, but put the building in at least. So let me grab this, the building outline. Probably straight that, more than likely. Looks like it's extending out a little bit more. Bring the line down. Delete that. Could have drawn a rotated rectangle here too. That'd have been fine. I'm just doing it this way. Then sidewalk. So I'm gonna say this is building. Right there, going against the sidewalk. Will let me? No. Good thing most buildings are rectilinear. Kind of makes this part not so hard to deal with. Really weird, it won't let me work out of this stuff, but whatever. And this is just gonna go straight down. Make it perfectly straight. Let me just grab that. say that I gotta do that. Okay. There it is. That's probably like a little wall system. I think it actually there's something like this. Well does and then like this. Maybe like this. Well, like that. Just making it fast as possible. Boom. Let's go like that. And maybe this becomes kind of this wall area, I don't know. Something like that, and it's like fenced off. Just gonna push you this way. Get rid of that. 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 Cool. Save. Alright, so it's decent. So now what I want to worry about is my striping for this. So I'm gonna put myself in another layer. I'm gonna call this HR for hardscape, and I'm gonna call this striping. And I'm gonna draw this thing. So I'm gonna put mine at about 6 inches, so 0.5. And what I want to do is just get this thing going in the right direction and call that 19. Because most spaces are about 19 feet. And actually what I do is grab this and weld that now. So it's one nice solid line, then I'll do that offset again and just do the 0.5. Close that baby off. And there you go, the face. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make that actually into a component. Could have called it striping, should have called it that, but it's cool. And call this on center. I'm gonna say these things are it's close to 10 feet, so that sounds right to me. So 10 feet. And when I do one, it's on that nice perpendicular line. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm gonna say 7x 7 times and kick those things out and see where it lands for me. Okay, so we got some variation. Boom, boom, and start shifting. 10. And then join it. Where did it? So that's that. There might be, this could be distortion or could just be what it is. So what I'll do is just, obviously that little space won't work. So I'm going to grab these and just kind of center them. I'm going to group that. And then kind of within that I'm missing a, I'll do this, I'll undo this in a second, but I'm going to grab that so I have kind of this piece here and I should be able to grab the center of. I'm gonna say the distortion just caused some funky stuff, and I just, you know, kind of measured it through the site, so it's, you know, makes it just easier. Make it equidistant. Do the best you can. Like again, you can go out in the field, but measure to verify. So once I have that, I'm gonna do the same thing basically on this other side. I'm just gonna grab it by the corner and just kind of drag it down and It looks like there's kind of a line right there, and I'm gonna grab that center point from it and just kind of go this way, and I'm gonna say 10 feet. And let me just say like 5 times. So let me do that. 10 feet, and let me say I do that 8 times. Let's see what this looks like. It's getting kind of skewed, but it looks like there's actually handicap parking there, so in that instance that would kind of make sense. So that's getting cool. It's kind of funky right there, so I'm just gonna pull this one over from me. Maybe those are just 2 kind of handicap spaces. You could. It looks like there's some striping in there too, actually, that I can demonstrate. So I'm gonna grab just one of these and I'm gonna make it unique, and grab it from the bottom so it lines up. And I'm gonna cut that one into this one. Edit. Oh, it's recursive. So let me edit, paste in place. Let me actually explode that. And then edit, paste in place. Okay, so now I kind of have these 2 pieces there, and that's not in the right position. Let me just move that a little bit. It's more like that. Okay. And then what you can do in here, I'm just going to build the rest of this on the outside so I can see. And then there's maybe some stripes or something going down. And I would just do the same for. And come down and was it 4 inches instead, or 6 inches rather. 0.5. Well, we'll get it when we get there. Of course, measure these things. It's probably fatter than this, but just kind of showing you what you can do. And you can do this different ways. 0.5. Okay. Then I'm just going to grab all that and cut all that, and then let it paste in place. And then I do my trimming now. Oops. There. There's what you want. Keep it coming. Look at a face. I'm doing that just to make sure the lines are actually closed, so it's important to do that. Oh, and this has just come straight over, I guess. Whoop. That's weird. There you go. That was kind of this weird thing, I don't know. Alright, so we kind of have that going on. Make sure that's as clean as possible. And then that's nice because it's on the striping layer. We can just turn this stuff off. So, oh, I neglected to put this in. Let me do that too. So here, and it won't let me offset. So I'll just move this over to that first yellow line. And I can't see the division, but I know it's a yellow line, so I'm just gonna kind of fudge it. Outside. Using my weld. And again, if you're doing a different area, just showing you how I'm going about doing it. So have this, and can I offset you? Sure can. Oops. I forgot we're working in 4 inches, and then you over here, and then you should be 4 inches too. I don't remember right, though. Oh, like 0.5. Like 0.5, and that still ain't enough. I'm gonna do it at 0.5. That gap maybe is supposed to be 4 inches, but either way, measure that, get your stuff right, and showing you how you can do this. Alright, right. And you can also bring those same lines over and begin to do this, and kind of grab these here, do it again. No, I don't like that. There, and same thing there. I'll grab that again since it was tripping, and go there. Okay, and then delete that. Extend the other ones. You could also work from this, depending on the type of project you're doing. If you're not creating construction documents and just kind of conceptualizing, then you probably get away with just doing a base map and SketchUp. But good to have a and this thing should be straight. So on and so forth. Could make these into a group and scatter them, just it's not that many. There's also plugins that help you make that do actually do road striping for you, but you got to pay for those. So it's kind of showing you on manual ways. Then you just gotta come back and delete. Maybe there's another one that's kind of coming up here somewhere. Let's delete that. Delete that. Some nice striping. This makes just make that bigger. Maybe like I was like there. Yeah, people do that just to exaggerate to make it look like it's way too big. Much more appropriate to scale. If it's wrong, it look right. Okay. Right there. Okay. Of course, you'd verify this in real life. All right, so that's done like that. We're also having to add these. then of course you can't see it. Oh. So it's like kind of, hopefully this is a straight line. I'm gonna kind of eyeball to where it is, and maybe to like right there. It's a little off that, so maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully that's just like 10 times. Okay, a little bit over. That's all right. It was a straight line, so that was a really quick way of kind of knocking that out. And then I'll just come back and delete some of those pieces. Whoa, wrong one. It worked this way. So that would be deleted. 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 Okay. So nice striping there, and kind of have that. Now I do like to put. Let me turn everything else off. And all this is kind of layers. Let me put myself on layer 0 and turn my striping off. And just kind of, oh. And that way too, it's important. Like that line is on striping. I don't want it to be there, so that should be on layer 0. So you can kind of see these things. Layer control again is super important. So I'm gonna turn that off, and those are kind of my faces, and I'm just gonna kind of group that for now. And I'm gonna call that flat work. I'm gonna put 0 and call that flat work. So I can begin to toggle that on and off. I might delete that in a second, but I just want to be able to turn that off. What are you? Somehow somebody didn't make the cut. Cut. I know. Why that thing is not cutting. It's weird. Okay. Okay. Alright, so that's that, and what I want to do then is put it on flat work, turn that off, put back on my striping. Okay. These are nice components. This is a group. I just want to make sure at a minimum that these are grouped. So I can just grab them all kind of together. This is where I'll kind of turn it this time, so I can grab it and then put them in a group. So I know it's nice, clean, separate geometry, and it won't interfere with the other faces that I have when I begin the model and stuff. All right, so boom, 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 boom. What do we have going on here? We have flat work. We got that going on. It's looking decent to me. Now, I didn't add any color or anything to this. We turned the kind of the plant material back on to see how we fared. Because we don't need to right now. We're gonna focus on the AutoCAD, but you can quickly begin to drop colors in this, and we'll do that as we progress. I mean, definitely save. Let me put my snapshot back on so I can kind of see. And I can kind of come back in here and begin to tweak some of these things. Maybe this kind of comes down further here. You know, it's not so. That's not too bad. Seem a little low. Picture distortion, maybe a little bit lower to that. Okay. Okay. Call that right. You can also add in vehicles if you want, cars and stuff like that, just to help give some scale. But we'll let that kind of ride for this. Everything is nice and neat and organized. So what I want to do is turn off the snapshot and terrain. I might still kick it out into 3D. We'll find out here in a second, but hopefully we'll be able to just delete those layers. But now that we have that, and we also have our contours, we generated our contours as well, so that was an important step. We're ready to kick this thing out into to AutoCAD. So let me again make sure that you're in parallel projection. Do a zoom extents, and I'm gonna go File, Export. I'm gonna say 3D model because I'm gonna keep the Z coordinates of those contours. And actually, let's check that out. All right, so again, we go to this file, 3D. Hopefully this is gonna export. It might not be allowing me to export just because of, for some reason, it's, I don't know, it must be the recording software that I'm using that's interfering with it. It's not letting me kick it out. But what you would do for this is you're going to go File, Export, 3D Model, make sure it's the AutoCAD, and kick it out. So let me stop this and I'll begin recording after I kick it out. Okay, so I was able to kick this thing out, this model. I'm actually going to put it where it needs to go. So model, and then I'm going to put it in AutoCAD. So I kicked it out. I'm going to put my base template in the, well, that's a good point. So now it brings it in. I put it in model and I see my base template. What I want to do is double click on that because I made this as part of my, as my piece. So you need to open your template that you've created. If you haven't, you'll do this from scratch, but I have a template. So I'm going to open both these up, and I'll open my template up first. And I'll make this template available to you all. But you should have your own. No biggie if you don't, you have it now. So this is open. And what you see, I just have some plant material here. Check my units, they should be the same. Decimal, feet, as I'm working in SketchUp to make sure that they coincide. I have layouts already waiting for me, so really nice. So next thing I'm going to do is go back to that and open up the model. Continue opening, and you'll see that we have our model projected, everything that we've kind of drawn in nice layers that we've created. So really cool. What I have it brought over the snapshot and the terrain, but we really don't need those layers. So I'm going to try to delete those. Now when it says you can't delete that, there's a command that goes delete. And you can select the layer that you can type in the name. So the name of this is going to be location underscore snapshot. Invalid selection or name. Oh, there it goes. I had to do all that. I was tripping. So location snapshot, and I don't need the terrain either, so I'll get rid of those, delete those layers. Boom, it'll force them to delete because I don't need those. My contours are in a group, so I'm going to explode those, but it's nice because they're on the contours layer by itself. So after I explode that, I'm going to go lay ISO and select those contours by themselves. And then I'm going to do some modifying. I'm going to do a polyline edit, so PE edit, enter, convert them to polyline, disregard. Yes, I want to disregard that. I want to join them. One is my fuzz distance, just to try to make sure these things are joined in like one line. Now I'm going to grab it and then go to line type generation and say enabled. Okay, and the next thing that I want to do is I want to change the color to some common colors. So let me make this just white, and let me make the line type a dash. And just say REA. Oops, that color should have been white. And that line type is not doing anything. And load. Oh, it's already there. And load another one. That should be working though. So that, oh, let me do the line type generation should be enabled. And when that's enabled, okay, there you go. And then those are really big. So let's try changing that to and if the scale's too big for this, like that scale looks way too big for me. Non-type scale 1, okay. I'm just gonna adjust that because it just looks way too big. Let me just do one first and play with this. Just turn everything else on. It's good. It's always good to see things in context too. So those contours aren't huge, but like a 0.3 or something. And it's decent. So I'm gonna do a lay ISO again. I'm just gonna make everything 0.3 for that. Try to get this thing to look halfway decent too. And also make sure I'll type it's 0.3. It's all consistent. Okay, I'm gonna save this. Instead of calling it a model's fine. Lay on. Now what I want to check too is I want to make sure that these things actually came in correctly. So just gonna draw a line and check the length of it. And that's about right, 23 feet, so cool. Which we get another check is just to do a, you know, what's 10 feet? Looks about right to there, scale. Okay. So we have our contours now, which is nice. And what's nice about doing it this way is if I tilt this thing, you see that we actually have, you know, contours at different levels. So that's nice. Okay, so save. That's all groups, that's fine. This is not, I'm gonna explode that. And I can do some line control now. This is on layer 0, and I can, you know, make this thing like index colors in red and begin to control this and set my line weights. The trees can be green. Again, grab the color, just kind of making them green. Yeah. So plant materials green, starting to look better, easier to read. I'm not a huge fan of that, so I'm gonna go here and maybe make that striping yellow. Okay, and then that purple probably should be green too. Alright, and then REA. Control save. REA. Cool. And like I said, once you have it here, you can edit these things, you know, like if I wanted a line, it's a broken line, for instance, I can, you know, begin to change and fix these things. Another thing that I want to do to keep my model clean is just do kind of a lay ISO. I like doing this just to make sure everything's on the same plane. Grab all this, and I'm just going to flatten all that out. Just to make sure it's all in the same elevation, just nice and flat. Control S to save. REA. Okay. So we have some like little crumbs and things like that. Okay, and then lay on. Alright, but that's not bad. Now what we can do is bring this into our layout. So I'm gonna go to my layout. Oops. Let me grab all this now, actually, that I've done this, copy it, and then go into my base template. Right, so my layout's already waiting for me. So this is the beauty about having this. So I can just Control V what I have down now. My contours are on white, so some things have changed. This is white is. I have pre-created layers here for myself. What I can do is if I'm not using any of those, I can just do a PU. Purge all, and just purge all the items I'm not using. So I'm gonna make that back, you know, red, so it looks more like what we saw. Okay. And then if I wanted to now, I got all these other different tree replacements. If I wanted to make something that looked nicer, you know, as a black line drawing, it's easy enough just to kind of go in and just replace these geometries. If I wanted to grab this, for instance, and make that, you know, just to keep it clean. I want to make sure I'm on that layer. So that's like the LA existing, right? LA existing tree. So I'd find my LA existing tree layer. Make sure that's it. Put myself on it. I just want to explode this one. Okay, and make sure that the layers now are on that LA existing tree layer so it's consistent. Was it LA tree underscore existing? LA tree. There it is. Boom. So everything's on the right layer now. And I'm just going to hit. Well, really, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to grab that information. Copy. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to edit block in place. And I'm going to Control V. And drop that thing in and then just delete that out, run. And save changes. You see as you do that, all of them are instantly updated. So, I mean, it makes it really, really easy to kind of go back and forth. So the idea is that a block in AutoCAD is a component in SketchUp. And there's different, as you play with different softwares, that they all have different names, sadly. But that's how you can easily do that. So I'll just Control S for now. Just save that, delete that, don't need that. I'm going to go into my layout plan. Double click. I'm just going to do a zoom extents real quick. Kind of have this like that. And what I want to do, I think I'm going to do a 10 scale on this. So 1 is 10, so great. So I have my site, and I did extra, and so that I'd make sure that I would have some board and some context for that. So there's that. PS. Alright. Now what's nice, again, I did that 10 scale. I have a scale waiting for me. I'm in paper space now, so I can just kind of move this thing up, or I don't need all that information. And I can literally just kind of chop that thing like that. So it's even cleaner to see. Your choice. I'm going to leave that up for this one, and maybe even further to have an area for notes. But this is going to be a... I'll make sure, just double check. Always double check. I'm going to put this in ortho for a second and make sure that I'm coming over an inch. And... so this must have been an odd scale, so let me fix that. So if I'm coming here, it's just going to be 0.5. Same idea, just borrow from this. Again, get your scale factors to be right so you don't have to do this. I must have been working on something else when I created this one. I don't know. Some other stuff. So that's one, and then I'm just going to offset that and through. Your scale should be fine, so you don't have this issue. Then awesome. But pretty easy to build these things, and I'll just keep it clean from that. Join, and just copy, put myself off ortho. It's kind of like ortho. Maybe we'll go kind of like that. Cool. That, and maybe one kind of big one. But you need to have a graphic scale on a north arrow, so make sure that at any rate you have both. And there, and I'll just copy. That over, and make sure that that's an inch. So those are half inches, and then boom. And then maybe one more. scale. Looks good to me. Then you just bring that over. Come back and connect it with some lines. Hatch. I'm going to do solid. I'm going to do the object selection. For an object 2. Boom. There you go. And what I do is just make sure I'm on the right layer at least. I'm going to grab all those. I never drawn it right, but be on the right layer. And then boom. Copy. Boom. Then I'll borrow my numbers. Okay, so or I can just not be lazy and do that. So what did I say? This is 10 scale, right? So 1 inch is 1, so it's 10. So that means this is 5, folks. 5. And this is going to be 10. I'm just copying ortho on. Move the last one over just because. Boom. 5, 10. So 0, 5, 10. And this is going to be 15 and 20. And this is actually going to be 30. 40, I suppose. They're 10 blocks from 0, 5. Alright, that's it. Boom. This comes over. So that wasn't that hard to create. Make sure if you do it right the first time, just do it right the first time. Update the project name information. So whatever site you're doing, your name, call it what it is, project number, all that good information. So for me, it's not 3/8 scale. That's why it was off. So I'm going to do this one at, this is 1 inch. Oops, got that part already. Equals 20 feet. Alright, my issue date would just be what? This is 01 25 17. Alright. And you can play with line weights on this, Control S, and then when you're done, print this thing off. What I might do is come in here too. Let me lock my screen. You might want to join some of these lines for the building. And then just do like an offset. Draw another line for that one. Let me do that. Yes. Join. Let me actually go back to model space for this. So, try that again. Just to do a little offset to give it some, so that we can see it even, better than that, better yet. And when you get what you have and you're done with everything, you just, I would just delete the extra stuff that you're not using, which is just taking up extra space. Just purge all. Close. And I might keep some of those, but for the most part. Let me do a layer ISO. And then what I'm going to do is just do a building layer. Should have done that before, but I didn't, so do it here. So just AR and call this building. And I'll turn it on, so it's on. Make it yellow so we can see, and then I'm clicking on the layer and Alt-C to make it current. I'm going to do a B poly, and it's going to detect detection, so it's going to give me that nice shape. I'm going to offset. I'll just do a through so we can kind of eyeball it. Just give it a nice little edge so I know that it is in fact a building. Okay. Boom, and then on. Oh, before I do that, let me hatch it. Detection. There you go. So now you got a nice fat line for the building. And you make this. I don't know why that's not. I don't know if you put color should be black. Weird. So what's happening is these things happen, this happens to you. I just want to make sure that the all black should be working, everything in print black. Let me try that one. And DWG to PDF, if that happens to you. REA. Let me see if it actually prints that way. Sometimes these things glitch too, something to be aware of. So desktop, try. Let's see. No, it's printed black, so I was just glitching. All right, so that's cool. So save that, and you would have that. Now, what you need to do also add are hatches. So I would come back in also. That's one thing that's missing too. So let me layer freeze that. And then layer freeze this. Don't need that. Don't need that. You have hatch areas. So what I would do is again create an area, a new layer. Create a new layer and just call it. I'm gonna call it 0 preface. I'm gonna call it hatches. Hatchy. Put myself on it. Hatches, and I'll make them kind of this blue. And then I'll just do island detection, kind of come in with the hatch, and I know that this is gonna be kind of ooh. Kind of spilled through. And this is where it's good to kind of figure out what is going on. Like I said, hatches aren't always the most fun thing to mess with. So let's do, make sure my striping is off. Maybe that's hurting it some too. Let me just try that again. So island detection, no, definitely not. Just the. So what you can do is try to make sure that you combine these lines. So I'm just gonna lay free some of this stuff. So I got a lot of other funky stuff that's kind of flying around that I didn't see. Let's turn everything on. On. If this happens to you, you'll kind of see this stuff. So I got a lot of weird information. I don't know where all that even is. Right, clear all that. If you get that, then I'm getting it too. Don't know where it came from. Okay. All right. Let me do a PU. Okay, cool. All right. That's all I need. Doesn't need to be anything extra. Boom, boom, boom. So now let me isolate this. Actually, do a lay ISO. Everything's on. Lay ISO. I want all of that. Let me try to combine some of these things. Just convert them. Yes. Let me do flatten it again. Alright, now let's see if we can't get the hatch to work. So hatches, they're on. There we go. So now hatches are working. You come in and begin to adjust your hatches, put in things that kind of make sense. So maybe I'll use sand for grass to kind of give it that texture and keep it going. You have it there. Ooh, spill out. Making sure there's no breaks. Again, hatches sometimes can be a pain in the butt. Just gotta be patient. And maybe. And you all kind of, oh, that's the wrong one anyway, wrong side. You all kind of get the picture. Yeah, so good luck with the hatches, have fun with that. Things that you can do is join the lines. I use my polyline edits and to try to make a clean group to help define an edge for it. That seems to help a lot. You can also try the B-poly command to try to create faces, but sometimes it creates redundancies in line work, so this is the pain of doing hatches, but do the best that you can with it. There you go. So there's another one, then I'll just MA and come in here and whoops, match my properties. There you go. And you build it up kind of piece by piece, and then maybe you reduce the transparency like about 30 or something of the hatch layer. And then when you come back here, you'll be in good shape, Leon. And then, of course, make sure that your hatches are always on draw order, send to back, so it reads better. Send back. All right, that's what you need to do. Print the thing out, and that'll be part of the portion that you need to upload to Blackboard.